it's April and welcome to Snapdragon Hollow. I'm here today with another book vlog. I've been doing a lot of reading this week and I thought I would update you on some of the books that I've read, as well as share with you a small Amazon book haul and the books that I'm currently reading. I'll also be sharing with you a look at my reading journal that I'm getting started. A reading journal slash sort of scrapbook book that I'm working on that I will share with you how I'm getting that set up and some of my first entries. I'll also be sharing with you what I'm enjoying today with my cup of tea, and I would encourage you to grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, or if it's hot where you're at, a nice iced tea or cold beverage, and enjoy this book vlog with me. So the first book that I finished since I last updated you was A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. I do hope to be able to start reading more Shakespeare. I've always enjoyed Shakespeare, but it's been quite a while since I've read some of my favorites, as well as tackled some of the Shakespeare that I haven't read yet. So I thought that the week of Midsummer Night, I would go ahead and read A Midsummer Night's Dream. And it is such a fun story. I absolutely love it. I am familiar with this story. I believe I read this years and years ago. And of course, I've seen some of the films of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And it is just cute. I love how the fairies, as well as the humans in this, commingle in the woods for quite an interesting story. Of course, a bit of chaos and mischief occur on Midsummer Night due to the meddling of the fairies. This is also a sweet little love story that I also enjoyed. I think that A Midsummer Night's Dream is a great thing to read during the summer, and I had a lot of fun reading it specifically around the few days of midsummer. Midsummer was a really fun day for me. Our church hosted a fun barbecue get-together, a potluck style fun barbecue. So on the first day of summer, we kicked that off by going to a barbecue with our friends and enjoyed a nice summer evening hanging out and chatting outside while enjoying a nice barbecue. So overall, a great way to start the summer. I love summertime, so I've just been really enjoying that and doing a lot of reading. I love reading in the summer. The next book that I finished, I mentioned that I was reading this one in my last book vlog. This is Laura Child's Plum Tea Crazy. This is a tea shop mystery book, and I really enjoyed this mystery. It was a really cute mystery. Let's see, I did rate it a 4 stars on Goodreads. I think it was pretty good. It had a really good twist in the end of the book. I really like that when they kind of put in a little twist there. I did have an inkling a couple of times about the person that ended up committing the crime in this story, but I definitely wasn't sure. So I really enjoyed that. As I mentioned before in my last vlog, I really enjoyed all the characters in this. I enjoyed hearing about the tea shop, and of course the mystery itself was also really, really good. So fun little cozy mystery. I enjoy the tea shop mystery series again, Plum Tea Crazy by Laura Childs. And I'll definitely be reading more of the Tea Shop Mystery series. Also forgot to mention, I did rate Midsummer Night's Dream a 5 stars. I think it is a wonderful book, of course. Next, I was cleaning my bookshelves here. I'm trying to rearrange things in my space here. It's taking a little bit of time to get everything just the way I want it. And I moved one of my favorite authors of books, and as I was moving them and dusting them, I came across a small children's book that I hadn't yet read. This is by Jean Craighead George, and this book is called One Day in the Woods. Jean Craighead George writes one of my most favorite children's stories, My Side of the Mountain. I absolutely loved that story growing up. I still love it. I loved the movie. Very wonderful story. I also enjoyed reading My Side of the Mountain with my children when they were younger. We read it together, a read aloud chapter book. I would definitely encourage you to do that if you have any children in your life. If you'd like to read that book out loud with them, it's just wonderful. My Side of the Mountain by Jean Craighead George. Anyway, this is One Day in the Woods. It's a little teeny tiny book, and I found out there are 3 others in the series. I have one more, and I'm going to order the other 2. They're just so cute. She was raised by naturalists and was really good at observing and writing about nature. And that's what she does in One Day in the Woods. The author describes a girl's day out in the woods. She's out there to observe nature. She is looking for a certain bird that her uncle has told her about. And in the process of waiting to see this bird she's looking for, she observes all sorts of other nature. So really great little book here. If you love reading about nature or observing nature yourself, I think that this is a great little book, very inspirational for nature journaling and things like that. Also a great one for young readers here. It's just a nice thin book again and really great. One Day in the Woods by Jean Craighead George. And I also rated this one a 5-star read. It was really well written. Very descriptive. Then I mentioned this next book in my last vlog as well. This is the book that I picked up when I was at the beach a couple of weeks ago at a bookstore in Seaside, Oregon called Beach Books. And I decided when I was there to pick a book that was outside of my normal comfort zone, a book that I wouldn't normally pick out just for fun, something different. I picked up this book, That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. It had sort of a thriller-like cover here, as you can see, which isn't what I would normally pick up to read in the summertime, but the description that somebody had left in it, they had different books with suggestion cards, and it sounded really interesting. This story is about a girl who wakes up, she's found on the side of the road, she's been injured, but she doesn't remember anything. And a definite mystery unfolds at the same time in another town. A teenage boy is accused of murdering his girlfriend, and he's just trying to locate his missing girlfriend, who he did not murder. Everyone in town believes the worst of him, and he's just setting out to try to find his lost girlfriend. So it's kind of the two stories side by side, as well as how they relate. I won't give too many spoilers. There's quite a twist at the end. And this book was quite the page turner. I could not put this down. I finished this book in 2 days. Again, I just couldn't put it down. I read it every chance I got throughout the day until I stayed up late one night finishing it. It is definitely a darker book than I normally read. There were definitely some scary twists in here, definitely some dark themes that I didn't super love, but that is what this genre is. It is a thriller. It's going to have those darker tones to it, the more serious, heinous crimes, things like that. So definitely a thrilling, scary sort of a read here. It was, again, a little bit spooky. I did rate it a 4 stars because, again, I couldn't put it down. And there were a few things about this book that I really enjoyed. One was a surprise upon opening it. First off, I didn't realize at the time that they sent me home with a cute little bookmark from Beach Books here, which I always think is so nice. And then when I was opening up the book to get started, I realized that I had a signed copy. So then I started looking into the author a little bit more, and she is a writer here in Oregon. And this book takes place in Oregon, all things that I didn't realize when I initially purchased this book, so it was neat. A lot of the locations in this book are loosely based on actual locations that I'm very, very familiar with, both at the beach and about an hour from where I live. So areas, again, that I'm really familiar with, and that was really neat to kind of be able to think about it. I know very well the landscape around here and the description of the spaces, which actually made it a little bit more spooky for me because I'm very familiar with some of the locations around here that can be kind of spooky, lots of wooded areas, things like that. So very interesting book. Again, That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. It was fun to read something outside of my comfort zone for sure, and I did read through that really quickly. It was quite a page turner. And let me grab a sip of tea here. And as I am a fan of books and reading, I'm also a fan of libraries, and I volunteer with my local Friends of the Library. I would definitely encourage everyone to find out if they have a local Friends of the Library group and volunteer with them. It's fun to be involved in the community for sure, and it's really great to be helping to support the local library. And so I was at the library for a meeting, and I of course have so many books on my list to read, but I couldn't resist one of the books that was up on the rack when I first walked in. They have a lot of new releases out, and I spotted this book here. I had heard about this book, and when I spotted it, I thought I would go ahead and pick it up and give it a read. This is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. So here it is, The Fury. It takes place on a Greek island, actually both in England and on a Greek island. It is a fun mystery story told in a really interesting way. The narrator of the story invites you at the beginning to sit down, I believe like at a cafe or something like that, grab a drink, and he'll tell you this long story of what has happened here in this murder mystery tale here. And it is really interesting. Again, another page turner. I again could not put this book down. I read it and read it again, finished it. Just like in the last book, I finished this in just 2 days, reading every chance that I got because it was so interesting. I will definitely be reading more by Alex Michaelides. I know that he writes some other very well-known books, both The Silent Patient and The Maidens, both books that I haven't read, but I have heard are good books as well to check out. Now that I'm familiar with his writing, I will go ahead and check those books out as well. This was really good. I rated it a 4 stars. I don't want to spoil everything. There are a lot of twists and turns in here. This had a lot of points in it that really made you think. A lot of different psychological thoughts about human character, things like that. Lots of interesting notes that I made to think about later. However, towards the end of this book, there are a few too many twists to the story. I know murder mysteries have a lot of different twists, like, you know, oh, but this happened, oh, but this happened. And that happened a couple too many times for me. I thought that that was just a little bit unrealistic, but again, it didn't take away too much from the story. I did find it to be a little bit annoying, but I still stuck with it and I still enjoyed it. The story does kind of start taking a darker tone, and you sort of start figuring out some things in the book as you read it, which was again really, really interesting. In the first half of this book, I was thinking this is going to be a 5-star read. That's how much I was really enjoying it, but I ended up giving it 4 stars because, like I said, towards the end there, it got a little bit odd. A few too many twists and turns, and I've read a lot of mysteries with a lot of twists and surprise endings and information, and so I am used to that, but I felt like for me it was just a little bit too much. So for me, that was just a little bit annoying, and it kind of detracted from the story. But again, the story had so many wonderful and interesting points to make that I would encourage you to read this book. It was very interesting. If you're a fan of Agatha Christie, mystery novels, things like that, this would be good, as well as just modern fiction. It was a really interesting book. So Alex Michaelides, The Fury, fun book, and I'm glad I checked this out. I'm also really glad that this book was a page turner, because this is one of the books at my library that is a popular book. So when they have a new release type of book come in that is going to be popular, like this type of book, you only have 2 weeks to check it out. So I had to get this read and reviewed, and I'll get this returned right back to the library. It was fun checking this book out from the library. That was a really neat thing to find. So that's what I've read so far this week. Now to what I'm continuing to read here. I'm reading the next book in the Misty of Chincoteague series by Marguerite Henry, Sea Star, Orphan of Chincoteague. This was in my list of books that I'd like to read over the next couple of months, and it is wonderful. I'm enjoying reading that, and I will update you in my next book vlog what I thought of Sea Star. I have started Wildwood here, and I've just got the first couple of chapters read. I started it late the other evening after I finished The Fury here, just to read something a little bit more lighthearted and interesting and whimsical. So I'm reading Wildwood by Colin Meloy. This one also takes place in Oregon here in the Portland area, and I find that to be really fun and interesting. And again, all of these books, I will update you what I thought in my next reading vlog. And I'm still working on The Little Gray Men by B.B. This book is a wonderful book. I absolutely love it, but it is a little bit of a slower read for me. I pick up this book when I really want to go into this natural little world here, the British countryside that B.B. describes in his book here, The Little Gray Men. I just am loving this book, and again, I'll update you on this when I'm finished with that as well. So those are 3 children's books. I needed something a little bit more lighthearted after the last 2, The Fury and That's Not My Name. Those were a little intense. I wanted something just super chill for this week. I have a really busy week ahead of me, so I just wanted something lighthearted and chill to read, and I'm really enjoying those children's books. So now it's time for my tea time treat today. These are crispy crepe biscuits in milk chocolate. I think that it is pronounced gavottes or Gavo, but I think it's Gavottes. These little delicious chocolate crepe biscuits. I picked up these at World Market again. We get a lot of fun little goodies at World Market, and I like to save them for my once a week little tea time treat here. And I have had these before. I know they're absolutely delicious, and I'm excited to have a couple with my tea today. I would love to know in the comments below what you think are wonderful tea time treats. If you have any good suggestions for me, I would love to hear that in the comments below. And also, if you've tried these delicious chocolatey crepe biscuits, they are light as a feather. They're these little teeny tiny chocolate cookies. They're little tiny crispy crepes covered in milk chocolate. I believe they have dark chocolate too. Since my last two tea time treats were dark chocolate, I decided to go with milk chocolate this time. So I will have two of these delicious chocolatey treats with my tea time today, and I'll let you know what I think. Again, it's been at least a year or two since I've had these delicious crispy crepe biscuits, but I know they're really, really good. So I will go ahead now and try these delicious chocolatey treats. And these are just as delicious as I remembered. I'll show you the inside a little bit if you can see that. I'm not sure you can see that. It is this little super thin as can be crispy light wafer inside. It's got a couple layers because it's like the crepe folded over, and then the outside is again coated in that milk chocolate. It has a very sweet, either like brown sugar or honey sort of taste to it. Again, with that milk chocolate, they are a little bit of a crumbly cookie, so you'll want to be careful with that, but they are so delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one and take another sip of tea. And while I do that, I'll go ahead and give you a look at my reading journal. Okay, so I am at my desk here. I've got a new desk set up here. This is above the gallery wall that I shared with you before. I've moved my needle felting desk across the room and put my little writing desk here, and I've added some shelves and little containers here so that I have a dedicated location to work on some of my paper crafting and journaling. So I thought I would share with you the start of my book journal. Originally, I was going to use one similar to this, but I've decided to use this blank notebook for some scripture journaling that I want to do. That way I can just keep ordering these same ones. It's going to be a larger project, so I'll probably fill up a bunch of these blank black notebooks, and I'd like to just have those consistent. And when I came across this at a recent trip to Barnes & Noble, this was actually on my birthday, a birthday trip that I will be sharing about in another upcoming book vlog. But this was one of the wonderful things that I found. And actually my son bought me this along with a couple of the other books that I picked out as part of my birthday present, which was really, really nice. I thought it was nice that there were 3 of these. You can see the design here. I'll go ahead and open this up. I'll open them up with my new scissors here. I just love these. They look like the old-fashioned school scissors, but they are really well made. This is from Halo Force, it's called. I'll leave a link in the description box below. I got these at Amazon. I was looking for some really good old school type scissors. The aesthetic is just really nostalgic for me. So let's go ahead and open these journals up and I can get started on my book journal. Okay, so these are the 3 journals that this set comes with. You can see they look absolutely beautiful. A lot of just gorgeous vintage style books on here. This one's a little bit different selection of books. And this one, the books are a little bit larger, but still similar here. So I thought it would be nice to just use these. That way I have enough for quite a bit of book journaling before I need to buy a new one. I haven't done a book journal in many, many years. I actually was cleaning through some old papers the other day and I found one of my old book journals from a long time ago, over a decade ago, and it was really fun to read through them. So I definitely thought it would be fun to start a new book journal. So let's see, I think it's going to be between these 2 here. And I think I'll go with this one here. There are a lot of old-fashioned books here that look like the main character are old-fashioned girls here. And that just seems like a fun one to start with. So I'll put the other 2 on the shelf for later and get started with this one. So let's see, the inside of this book is just like a basic lined book here. Actually, it looks like one side is lined and one side is blank, which I think is really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get started making a few pages here. And I did a little printout here with some of the book images of books that I've read so far this year to go ahead and cut out and paste in here. Got my scissors and some pens and some fun book stickers here, bookish stickers here from this Bibliophilia Antiquarian sticker book here. So we'll go ahead and use some of those too and get started. I will go ahead and get started with this, and then I'll share some clips of me working on it throughout getting this journal started, and then I'll share with you what I've got so far. Just jumping in here with my first page here, I looked through this whole book here and didn't really find very many book-themed stickers, which I think is kind of funny considering it's supposed to be bibliophile type stickers. There were a few like this one here, but just not quite what I was looking for. Fortunately, one of my little drawers is full of bookish stickers. I tried doing a little bit of doodling, but because I'm out of practice, it's a little bit rough and uneven, but it was still fun to do, and I think that that's fine, just part of the process. So I went with just some nice basic bookish stickers here, just to kind of get started with the process here. So my book and reading journal 2024, and I may add a few more colors and things to this. And now I'm on to my next page, which I can't decide if I should start with the books that I've read and do a few of those pages and also leaving room for future books that I've read, or what. So I'm going to do a little bit of thinking and planning and work on the next couple of pages, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. So I have finished my first 2 pages here, and I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for a bit before I work on the next page. I do have 4 more books to add. If you notice any books that I haven't reviewed so far, I am a little bit behind in editing my book vlogs, so I'll have to play catch up a bit throughout the month of August. But let's see, this is what I've got so far. I've just used some scrapbooking paper. I decided my first pages should be the books that I've read in 2024. I have a goal of 50 books for this year on Goodreads. I've also decided to keep a little section here where I can just mark off the numbers, just for a couple different ways to keep track of those. I've used some of my PET tape down here, a couple of the stickers there, which was fun using those, and just a really basic page there just to kind of get me started. Then I thought I would build a little bookshelf here. I've just used some sort of crinkly patterned paper here to make a bookshelf for my first bit of books here. These are the first 16. Again, I've read 20 books so far, so I'll have to start another page here with that, and I'll be sure and leave a few pages in a row blank so that I can continue this making these little bookshelves. So I will go ahead and leave it at that here. My first couple of pages, it was nice to get started on this book and reading journal here, my front page, and starting with some of my bookshelves. I do hope to include some pages, author pages, certain books that I write maybe a full page book review on, things like that. And I will be sure and continue sharing my book journal here throughout my book vlogs for the rest of the year. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now back to the rest of my book vlog. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my reading journal. I hope to include clips of that journal's progress throughout my different reading vlogs. And I think it's going to be really enjoyable to keep a reading journal. So now on to my Amazon book haul here. I did pick up a few books, some that were just a good price that I'd been wanting to add to my library here, and some that were just beautiful, and I thought that I would go ahead and add to my summer TBR. So the first book that I picked up from Amazon here is by Henrik Ibsen, A Doll's House. This is a Dover Thrift Edition. I do love these little Dover Thrift Editions. I love having a nice little inexpensive paperback copy of a classic. That way I don't have to worry about bringing it around with me when I'm reading it. A lot of the classics in my library are hardcover or special editions, and I don't always love dragging those around. I buy really good hardcover editions because the better paper quality preserves the literature a little bit longer, and that's something that's important to me, so that those books can be preserved and in good condition for many years to come, so that my grandchildren can enjoy them as well. And again, though, I love just grabbing a little paperback copy of them to read just around the house. So this one is A Doll's House. Because I love dolls' houses, I thought that this would be interesting to read. I know it's not about a doll's house, but some of the symbolism of that, and I think that that's really, really interesting. It's also a very short read, so it'd be fun to read a quick little classic like this. And then this one I got because it was on sale, and a beautiful edition here. This is one of the Wordsworth classics, and this is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This is just a classic that's on my list that I haven't read yet that I would like to read. So again, I don't know if this will be on my summer TBR, but I definitely wanted to have a copy. I think it might have even been under $4. It was on quite a good sale. Again, Far from the Madding Crowd. And I will link all of these books with my Amazon affiliate link in the description box below so that you could find them if you would like to pick them up as well. And then this book is a book that I've heard about here on YouTube a few times from different book vloggers. This is called The Other Half, a novel. And at the top here says, "You know how they live, this is how they die." And this is a modern whodunit, and as you know, I love whodunits. I thought that this would be an absolutely wonderful summer read. This would be, it sounds like it would be a great beach read. I'm always looking for good beach reads in the summer. It does take place among the elite wealthy crowd here. There is a murder. It says here, the investigation into who killed Clemmy is going to be about aristocrats and classic degrees, Instagram influencers, and whose father knows who. So just sounds interesting. So then it says here that it goes into some of the dark truths beneath the luxurious life of these London socialites. And it says that can the investigator peer through the tangled mess of connections in which the other half will live and die. Sounds like a great book. I'm very interested to read this. I just got this one from Amazon and I may have to start this one right away. It just sounds like a fun whodunit. So again, The Other Half by Charlotte Fassel. And I will update you if I read this and what I think of it. The next book that I picked up from Amazon is called The Wren in the Holly Library, and that is by K.A. Lind. And it is, I believe, a fantasy book. The cover is just stunning. I thought that was so pretty. And look, the sprayed edges, which I just thought were so, so beautiful. I don't have very many sprayed edged books. I think it's a wonderful thing that they have these gorgeous sprayed edges nowadays. It's just so beautiful. And that was part of the thing that drew me to this book, was it was just so pretty. And of course, if you've followed along some of my other book vlogs, you know that I love books set in a library setting because I love books and I love libraries. So that theme in a book is always really interesting to me. So, but again, this is a fantasy story, I believe here. It says here, 13 years ago, monsters emerged from the shadows and plunged Kiersey's world into a cataclysmic war of near total destruction. The New York City she knew so well collapsed practically overnight. And then in the wake of that carnage, the Monster Treaty was created, a truce of sorts. And then it says, but tonight, Kiersey, I think I'm saying that name correctly, a gifted and fearless thief, will break that treaty. She'll enter the Holly Library, not knowing it's the home of a monster. And so that is sort of the setup for this very interesting looking book here. On the back it says, there are legends in our world, tales of beasts and beauties, creatures and stories that would keep you up at night. All those stories you've heard come from a kernel of truth. And because I also enjoy fairy tales and studying fairy tales, I love modern versions of a take on that vibe, the sort of fairy tale vibe, a little bit of the fantasy world there. So I'm interested in what this book is about. I don't know too much more about it than that. It just looked, again, like a very fun book to read, so I thought I would go ahead and pick this one up. With this one, I'm not sure that I will put this in my summer TBR. It depends on how well I get through some of the other books in my TBR. I do think that this would be a really fun read for September too, though, so we'll see. So I will keep you updated when I read The Wren in the Holly Library, again by K.A. Lind. My next book is for my crafting here. This book is titled Cut Up This Book and Create Your Own Wonderland. And this looked really intriguing. I love collages and scrapbooking and junk journaling and decoupage, things like that. And this book has just all sorts of things to cut up and use in your collaging or whatever you feel like using it for. Here's more. Oh, and here's one I know I'll use right away. There's a little Red Riding Hood. I have a project with a little Red Riding Hood that I hope to share about with you really soon. just a ton of, wow, just so many, more than I realized. I knew this book had a lot of wonderful, oh, this one, I'll use this for sure. Look at all the wonderful animals there. That would be great in a nature journal. So fun. Oh my goodness. There's a page with birds, and looks like we've got a page of butterflies. And in the beginning, it gives you some examples about how you can collage these into your own collage journal page or artwork, however you'd like to use these. It talks about some of the tools and materials that you'll need to use. Collaging and decoupaging is actually really simple. Good pair of scissors and some Mod Podge or some good glue, perhaps a little sponge or something like that, and maybe a cutting board if you really want to use like an X-Acto knife for exact details. I love both collaging and decoupaging and have done that for years. So wow, this book is very fun and has so many different images in here that you could use this for all sorts of things. And then it comes in the back here, comes with some larger images. Here's a woman in some hair curlers. There's a large kitten there. I don't know if I'd use one that big, but it could be interesting. This would be interesting. A little pointing finger here. Could use that in sort of an apothecary page or something. It's got postcards. Old-fashioned vintage looking postcards. So what a fun book. This is better than I even realized it was going to be. I was definitely excited to get this book, and it is great. Cut up this book and create your own wonderland. It looks like a ton of fun. And so hopefully you will see in some upcoming paper crafting vlogs me checking out that book a little bit further and using it in some of my projects. And then the last book that I picked up is a children's picture book, and this is of William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. You can see how beautiful this book is here. I thought, since I just read A Midsummer Night's Dream, that it would be fun to have a children's version of this so I can share that with my grandchildren, perhaps when they're a little bit older. Lots of beautiful illustrations here and a simplified version of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I think things like this are so fun. There are a few others like this, a few other children's picture books of these Shakespeare plays, and I do hope to add a few more of these to my library. This is really, really fun, and I look forward to reading this with my grandchildren. So William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream picture book. It is retold by Georgia Elenes and illustrated by Jane Ray. I think I'm saying that first name correctly, but very pretty book here. So that is my book vlog for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about everything that I've been reading and am currently reading, as well as the fun books that I picked up from Amazon. And I hope you can take some time this week to enjoy a cup of tea or coffee and some time with your favorite books. I would love to know what you're reading in the comments below, and if you've read any of the books that I mentioned here and what you thought of them. I hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.